Now, were you ever pi years old? How many holes does a straw have? And are your pants technically tucked into your shirt right now? Well, in today's video, we're gonna be using awkward, paradigm-breaking, say-it-again thoughts, like those to push ChatGPT to its limits. Basically, I have compiled a list of shower thoughts that have exploded most human heads, and now I'm gonna cut and paste them into this poor, unsuspecting little chatbot. So let's start with this one. One of my favorite shower thoughts that I've ever come across. Now, do you think if you're blind, reading in Braille the word "do not touch" would be like one of the scariest things that you could read? So ChatGPT is like, that would be subjective. Nope, didn't get it. You didn't get the joke. Ah, I see now. The humor lies in the irony that the person would have to touch the Braille in order to read "do not touch." Got it. See, it even takes ChatGPT a second to kind of catch on to shower thoughts. Here's another one. Now, have you ever been in the shower and pondered to yourself how it's actually easier to lose 2 socks than it is to lose 1 sock? It sounds weird, but think about it. If you lose 2 socks, you don't notice. But if you lose 1 sock, you're doing your laundry and you're like, where's its partner? Every once in a while, we could have 2 socks running off. We probably don't even know. We just one day realize we're low on socks. But to its credit, ChatGPT gets it. Indeed, losing 1 sock is more noticeable and it leaves an unpaired sock. While losing both simply means that they're gone without leaving a noticeable trace. It's easy to lose 1 sock because if you lose them both, you would have never noticed. Okay, I can't wait to see if it understands this one. Have you ever thought about how eye drops are technically blinker fluid? Okay, I think I got it. Look, yes, humorously speaking, eye drops could be considered blinker fluid as they lubricate and refresh the eyes, which blink. Tell me it got it? It says humorously, like, I mean, ChatGPT doesn't really blink or whatever, but like it gets that that's humorous to us. But look, we're just warming up. We're gonna push this thing hard. Shower thoughts, we're gonna take ChatGPT to the edge. Maybe back again, maybe off the cliff. That's the mystery. Maybe it can help us with this alien situation. If aliens come to Earth, how should we explain them losing in all of our alien movies? Not bad, we should explain that our alien movies are works of fiction. Be like not accurate portrayals of, real alien life, which you clearly are, so don't just disregard all that. Have you ever wondered why we call them fingers when we don't actually Fing anything? Well, if you have, don't worry anymore because artificial intelligence is here to answer that question. Oh, okay, that was a more intelligent answer than I expected. The term fingers comes from Old English fingras, which means fingers. Okay, it's not related to any kind of verb to fing. Thus, it's not about what we do with them, our fingers, but just historical linguistic development. So there's your answer. Here's one I'm sure you've all pondered at some point in your life. You've been sitting there in a shower wondering, when I drink alcohol, am I just borrowing happiness from tomorrow? Let's find out. Well, there you go. You absolutely have your answer now. When you go drinking, you're definitely borrowing happiness from the future, kind of doubling down on the night of. And that's just not me talking. That's a 155 IQ superhuman artificial intelligence that's read the entire internet. Now let's get to the bottom of this snail thing. Like, what are snails even trying to do? Like, where are they going, So snails are primarily trying to survive, which involves finding food, avoiding predators, reproducing, much like other organisms. Oh. And see, they just move so slow, it kind of feels like they're going nowhere, but no, they just, same as all of us, reproduce, food, all that stuff. I mean, I don't know about this one. You honestly think a snail is avoiding predators? No. I mean, maybe hoping not to get eaten, but that's it. Look, I'm sure you've been in the shower before and you've thought to yourself, I wonder if Hollywood will ever announce a sequel to the famous movie Groundhog Day and then just re-release the original. While that would be a humorous and fitting play on the theme of the original Groundhog Day movie, audiences may not appreciate the repetition and lack of new content. It's a good point. Maybe they want to spend money and see a new movie. Although honestly, I think it would probably make money still. Throw a little bit of CGI in there, like one of those Star Wars remakes, and it's all good, Put a little hat on Pennsylvania Phil or whatever his name is, and then you're all good to go. All right, ChatGPT, explain this to me. Why does the word fat look like the word eat with a bite taken out of the E? Well, it turns out it's a fun coincidence in English typography. So the perception of the word fat looks like someone took a bite out of the word eat. That's because F can visually resemble E. In capitals. That's what makes it a fun coincidence of typography. Like every friend group needs a real life ChatGPT friend. Like he would fit in at the party, he'd get teased a lot, but also like we'd all kind of like him. Does my stomach think that all potatoes are mashed potatoes? Because no, you get it. I'm not gonna explain it. Yes, your stomach would treat all potatoes like mashed potatoes because digestion breaks down food into smaller components regardless of the initial form. So yeah, there you go. That little stomach has no idea what a real potato looks like before it's mashed. Come to think of it, the stomach doesn't know anything about our food at all. Unless you're one of those like professional hot dog eaters that just swallows those things like pills, it has no idea the original form factor. Now that's a shower thought. And smash that subscribe button. Smart chatbot friend, is it true that wood is actually more rare in the whole universe than diamonds? Because it's certainly not that way here on Earth. Yes, it is true. Wood is more rare. Like an alien would be like, oh my god, wood. Like, this is insane. We've seen diamonds all over the universe. Of course, that would go for all our organic life. But, you know, it's the point is made. Let's see if ChatGPT can handle the fact that if you play Monopoly and you all agree to not buy any property, that eventually everybody gets all the bank's money and you all win. Now, look, ChatGPT got this one wrong. It thinks that if all players in a game of Monopoly refuse to buy the land, the game would effectively be a stalemate. Although true, it's wrong. Because the bank could give out all its money, and then it can create IOUs, and then everybody can just keep getting more rich every time they pass go. Maybe we should redo the rules. I mean, I think that was the point of the original Monopoly game anyways. Was the game of Monopoly stolen from Elizabeth Phillips, and if so, who stole it? Charles Darrow, traditionally credited for its popularization, and it was subsequently commercialized by Parker Brothers without initially crediting Maggie's original work. See, look at that. This woman, Elizabeth Phillips, invented the Landlords game, precursor to Monopoly. Whoa, was that the original board game? I think it was stolen from her. Who's this Ralph guy? He invented anti-Monopoly? Maybe Elon Musk will name his next company after her. Who knows? But back to shower thoughts. Think about this one. Before audio recordings became an invention, no human had ever heard their own voice before, except maybe through an echo. Uh-oh, looks like I might be getting corrected. So while echoes could provide a way to hear one's voice externally, people could also hear their voices internally through bone conduction before the advent of audio recordings. Well, like, what do you mean through bone conduction? It sounds different. We all sound different in our own head. No, comma, I don't think so, because we sound different through the bones in our face, in our own mind. See, there you go. Indeed, I'm correct. Although we could hear our own voice through bone conduction, it sounds different. And I'm going for the first time we heard our real voice, the way others hear it. So an echo would have been the closest approximation, but that would have actually been it. Except, I guess when it ricochets, it doesn't quite sound the same. Tough question. How about this one? If there was an earthquake on Mars, would we still call it an earthquake? Or should we call it a Mars-Quake? You ever thought about that one? What? It's actually called a Mars-Quake? I thought for sure that was not real, but that is what they're called, huh? I assumed that the word earthquake, just being the colloquial word for it, would just transfer to another planet. That's interesting. Get down, we're having a Mars-Quake. I mean, it does make sense. I just didn't think we would actually reason through it that way. Why do we say that we slept like a baby when babies wake up every 2 hours? It's not meant to mirror the actual pattern of a baby, which can indeed have frequent awakenings. Although I will say that the way babies breathe, like, you know how we're all supposed to breathe through our stomach, not our chest, to be like super healthy, but it's hard. Babies, like when they are sleeping, they just like a dog, they just like get big, get small, get big. It does look relaxing. Are squirrel cheeks also their nut sacks? No, squirrels store food such as nuts in their cheeks, yes. But this is separate from their reproductive organs, which does include the scrotum in males. Thank you, ChatGPT. Have you ever thought about how math can actually be done on the front of the napkin just as easily as the back of the napkin? Look, there you go. ChatGPT said yes, math can also be done on the front of the napkin. We'd probably have twice as many startups if people just knew that. All those businesses started on the back of a napkin. All those missed opportunities because the front had no room for any math. So for those of you that have strong gut instincts about simulation theory, you know that everything around us is like broken down into tiny little voxels at the Planck length. Time seems to have a Planck distance, kind of like a frame rate in a video game. Maybe all of this is like virtual sims and that would just looks like the Big Bang is the turning on of the computer. This one is for you. If that's true and we're living in a simulation, all the computers we've ever invented are virtual machines. And indeed, if we are living in a simulation, then all of our computers would technically be virtual machines. There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. Are all chicken nuggets Dino nuggets? So while chicken nuggets are made of chicken, only those shaped like dinosaurs are commonly referred to as dino nuggets. But where do birds come from? Who are the ancestors of birds, ChatGPT? No, you missed the conundrum because all chickens are dinosaurs. Now do you get the double meaning and why it was so important for me to ponder this inquiry? They're dinosaurs. Chickens are dinosaurs. Any chicken nugget is also a dinosaur nugget. Indeed. Considering that birds, including chickens, are descendants of a certain type of dinosaur in a sense, chicken nuggets could humorously be considered dino nuggets due to their ancestry. Got it. If tomatoes are a fruit, does that mean that ketchup is a jam? Yeah, from a botanical point of view, they certainly could be considered a jam. And you know, I always speak from a botanical point of view. I mean, look, it's a savory fruit preserve. Ketchup. Once you get your PhD, is every appointment that you have technically a doctor's appointment? They got it. Humorously speaking, once you have your PhD, every appointment you attend could technically be considered a doctor's appointment because you're a doctor, albeit not in the medical sense. Fair enough. Okay, so I'm definitely wondering how ChatGPT will handle this one. Does a straw have 2 holes or 1? And to be clear, I honestly don't know. I was like thinking about this when I was preparing the video all day. And I was like, 2, but really just 1 long one, but kind of 2 if you think about the ends. And I just like went back and forth like a pendulum. So let's see what it says. Oh, 1 long hole. Okay, there we have it. 1 definitive answer. There's 1 hole in a straw. Technically, all worms are earthworms until they make it to Mars. Well, all worms live in some kind of substrate. Not all worms are earthworms. No, you don't get it. What I mean is that all worms are earthworms because they live on Earth. It's a mental puzzle. Understood. In the sense that all worms live on the planet Earth, yes, you could humorously consider them all earthworms, in quotes, despite their various species and habitats. Gotcha. So here's a brain teaser for you. If your shirt's not tucked into your pants, does that mean that your pants are tucked into your shirt? Yes, humorously speaking, it does. If your shirt isn't tucked into your pants, then it could be viewed as your pants being tucked into your shirt. And that's definitely the way I look at it. Tucked in. There you go. Pants. So this one requires a visual reference. This is the Disney movie Cars. And do you notice anything that seems out of place for that world? In the canon of Cars, there are sidewalks. For what? More cars? Cars don't go on sidewalks. For people, there's no people in this world. For what, tires to roll down on their own or something? Makes no sense. ChatGPT, why are there sidewalks in the movie Cars when there's no people to walk on them? So the presence of sidewalks in the movie Cars, despite the characters being cars, was likely a creative decision to maintain familiar human-like environments, even though it may not serve a practical purpose for the characters. We agree, good answer. Let's ask the most advanced AI on the planet why it is that we say that we're taking a dump when we're technically leaving a dump. So the phrase taking a dump is an idiomatic expression in English. Right, taking a dump doesn't actually mean that you're taking something and dumping it on the ground. Sorry, it doesn't mean that you're taking a dump. So while it may seem counterintuitive, its usage is a linguistic conversation rather than a literal description of the action. Look, if a bad guy in a movie was truly a mad scientist and wanted to destroy the world, what would he use for the control group? If he's really a mad scientist, you need a control group. In the movies, if a true mad scientist wanted to destroy the world, he would probably leave half of it as the control group to see if his experiment works. Humorously speaking, a scientifically rigorous mad scientist might indeed leave half the Earth untouched. As a control group, demonstrating the proper application of the scientific method, even in a